strategic move that Eddie is making for AJ? Why are you not thinking, let's get him strategic move that Eddie is making for AJ? Why are you not thinking, let's get him set up for
kind of animal? If that was years and years and years ago. Like, Clarissa is a way different fighter from when she was back in.
Thanks to those joining me live and to those that have been joining me on our
defenses that she's had to have recently. You know, she's pulled people.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the RoundTable about tribalism. I don't think tribalism is necessarily bad. I just don't think it has to be.
I don't know what he think he sees or what he think he know. But he going to the hospital, bro. Like, bro, you not winning that fight.
You guys mentioned, I think, D-Style, you mentioned him versus Regis program. I'd love that. Sounds like a
old. I don't need you, you know, and PBC and others, in my opinion, it's like, oh, this is my guy. Like, there's a relationship.
Flat out, it's tough, and we call box, and we go to the end of the round, and then
that would say, what do you mean by acting black? That's a fair question, but a participant of trash talk knows.
And they're announcing a fight 3-4 months from now, and he ain't gonna fight. I bet you anything, he's not gonna fight somebody as good as John Ryder. Thanks to those joining me live and those that have been joining me here on the archives, the 189th edition of the Round Table. Joe Beebs in the back of a milk carton right now. No one knows where that. There's a search out. Maybe he's getting his Ryan Garcia arguments ready. I don't know. That's the rumor. Okay. Coppinger just reported Joe Beebs working on the arguments for the Ryan Garcia case. How's it going, guys? Ring IQ is joining us, of course, and also Mighty Max in the building as well. How's it going, guys?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
I'm waiting for Beeb, yo. I know he gonna come hard. He gonna have some good arguments, man.
Well, let's see what happens. Look, Rafael Espinoza, El Divino. He stopped Shirino Sanchez in the 4th round. What do you see next for this guy here? As for those that don't remember, he did beat Robesi Ramirez for the belt. He was a big, like 10 or 11-1 underdog. Goes out there, wins that fight, and then he looks impressive in this fight. He's tall for the division. I think he's a problem. Ring IQ, what's next for him?
I like him. I like him a lot better than Robesi Ramirez. I'll tell you that. I like his punching power. I like his style. The only guy I see in that division that I would give decent odds, and that doesn't even mean I would pick him, but Luis Lopez is a really awkward fighter, really good fighter. So I feel like that would be his stiffest competition. I would pick him to beat Ray Vargas. I would pick him to beat Nick Ball. I like Rafael, but I don't know what's next because it seemed like they all gonna play the waiting game for Inoue. So they may not unify with each other because they know that I saw a comment from Rafael recently that, yeah, he would like to fight Inoue. And we know that Luis Lopez has been calling out Inoue. So it just feels like they're going to do with Inoue what we saw with Canelo at 168, that they didn't want to fight each other because Canelo was coming. So they're like, nah, we're going to form a line. We all want to fight him separately. So it's hard to know what he's going to do because I would say unifications. But because of that, I don't know. I don't know.
Mighty Max, what you think of his performance, and what would you like to see next from him?
Yeah, Espinoza's looked tremendous. He's been a real force in his weight class. And personally, someone who has interviewed Robesi and has talked extensively with his manager, I would still love to see the rematch, even though he did conclusively win the first fight. I would love Robesi to get that opportunity back. However, the weight class is very intriguing right now. Very interesting. I do think Espinoza is definitely the top guy in the weight class. And I would love to see the Ray Vargas fight. I would love to see the Nick Ball fight as well. Personally, I would like the Robesi rematch before anything, just so that can be fully settled. But honestly, I expect him to wait for Inoue as well, and I think him versus Inoue would be a very interesting matchup. Of course, Inoue would be the favorite, but I think Espinoza will really give a good showing in that bout. But we'll see what happens in the weight class. I think it's very intriguing at the moment.
Yeah, what's crazy is just imagine the poster like with Inoue and Divino, like they're next to each other. They could really do something with that. I will be interested to see how Inoue chops down that tree, and I don't think it's an easy fight for Inoue.
I don't think any of those fights at featherweight. I like Inoue, man, but he's only human. He's only human, and those are big, strong kids up there. And bro, the thing is, everybody in Mexico want his head, bro. Ray Vargas, la verdad, like, yo, yeah, you did that to Luis Neri, my God, but we got something for your ass up here. And Rafael is an exceptionally tall featherweight, so it's like, I like Inoue, man, but I'm like, do you take a clean shot from this guy? Look at what Neri did. And I'm not trying to blow it out. I love Inouye, so I'm not trying to shit on him, but I'm like, dog, here he put you down for a second. He put you down. I don't know if you could take punches from these guys up there, man.
Yeah, as dominant as Inouye has been, I feel like he's getting closer to his limit at this point. 126 might be his limit. I think if he goes to 130, he's definitely pushing it too far. I've seen people ask for a tank fight. I always found that pretty hilarious. But overall, I still think he beats the guys at 126, but as you mentioned, I do think it'd be a very difficult fight for him, especially stylistically, because Espinoza, we know, can take a shot. We know he's going to keep coming forward. We know he's going to keep throwing punches. So Inouye's going to have to really push himself in that bout. So it'll be very interesting to see how it plays out. I hope the fight happens at some point for sure.
A lot of people try to draw parallels with Inoue and Pacquiao. I don't know, because they're both Asian, but like for whatever reason, they draw those parallels. And the thing what people need to understand is that Pacquiao was just a physically bigger guy than Inoue, right? Like he just was, and he was done with a lot of the weight classes at a very young age. Inoue is already in his early 30s. Like it's just isn't the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, like, and knowing an 8th division champion is not something that I expect to see replicated in the next. I don't even. Yo, dog, like an asteroid might come and we don't see another 8th division champion. That's how unique. And some people want to say Peds this, Peds that. I don't say that. Manny never failed a doping test. But an 8th division champion, yeah, it's not a lot of those, bro. And it's not going to be a lot of those, bro. It's not. It's not something that happens like that. So I don't have any illusions about what may happen to Inouye the day he goes to featherweight. It's going to be different there, dog. Those guys are a lot bigger than you, So it is what it is.
So speaking of Manny Pacquiao, there's reports that he's going to come back to fight Mario Barrios, who's now been elevated to WBC Welterweight champion. And looks like Pacquiao might, if the rumors are true, come back and want to maybe become a world champion again. And maybe he thinks Mario Barrios is an easy pickings. Mighty Max, what do you think of that possibility?
Yeah, I think that'd be a big mistake for Pacquiao personally. I think if he comes back, I would honestly pick Barrios to beat him at this point. And it's a shame because I think obviously the Pacquiao right before he retired, or even in his last fight, would definitely defeat Barrios in my opinion. But I feel at this point, he's been out the ring way too long. Barrios has gotten consistently better as we've seen throughout. And honestly, the way Pacquiao looked against Ugas, which was still, what was that, 3 years ago? A little around 3 years ago, and he's only gotten older. No, definitely not. He got into politics. He got out of the sport. If I'm Pacquiao, take some exhibition fights if you want to get back in the ring. I understand the ambition of wanting to become a champion again, but in just my humble opinion, I don't see him successfully accomplishing that. Not at this point.
All right, ring Manny Pac-Man Pacquiao. What do you think?
Barrios didn't look good in his last fight, man. And that was with Fabian Maidana. He didn't look good in his last fight. I know it sounds crazy, and I'm not an optimist. Like, I'm cynical as hell, but that's the right fight. That is the right fight for Manny. Like, yeah, if you're going to beat anybody for a belt in 2024, it would have to be Mario, Mario, God bless him, but you're just not of that ilk, bro, and you never were. And I know that Manny looked crazy with Ugas, like, yeah, you look your age, but remember, that's not who he was training for. That was last minute. He was training for Spence. Spence I got injured, right? It's the opposite fight where you were training for a guy who's going to come forward and throw combinations in a pocket. You end up with a guy who's hanging back and boxing and moving, and he's not a southpaw. So I could write off that performance that maybe that wasn't age so much as a lack of preparation. That you weren't getting ready for a guy like Ugas. They swapped him out at the last minute. And Barrios is not dynamic or stylistically so good. Like, you don't do any of the things that would bother Pacquiao. I don't see what you do that would bother him. Like, now he doesn't have to find you. You want to trade punches on the inside, the same as him. But even now, I think, yeah, Manny cracks harder than you do. I think so. So I give Manny a fighting chance in that fight. I mean, like that fight, just that fight. I'd give him a fighting chance.
Alex, we're talking about Manny Pacquiao. Rumor that he's going to come back and fight Mario Barrios.
Yes.
You like the fight?
DStyle, I'm packed-hearted. So I think he's going to beat Mario, the new email champion. The new email champion, right? How sad it is. This is by the way, this is the Tank Davis theorem in work, in progress, is they build up these guys before they fight Tank to be something that they're really not. And then after, they have to continue to prop them up, and these guys get privileged to go up in weight classes and fight for belts right away, coming off a loss, and go up in rankings. For the life of me, dude, I don't understand how George Kambosos isn't in the top 10 Ring Magazine pound for pound list or lightweight list, but Frank Martin is.
Thank you. And Kelly, you said it. They built him up afterwards, not before, because Frank wasn't shit. And everybody knew he wasn't shit.
Yes.
They built him up afterwards. So it's like, oh, he beat the great Frank Martin. The great Frank Martin.
But my point is, they attempt to build them up before with the promotion. But you brought this up the Sunday night after the Tank fight and Frank Martin. You brought this up on your on your live, is that none of us, Tank's critics, none of us pick Tank to lose. None of us go into fights and say, oh, he's gonna get beat this time. He's gonna get exposed. That's how weak the opposition is. And it's a weird thing. And I brought this up when Floyd, like late stage Floyd Mayweather, right? When he was taking easier fights at the expense of better fights, and his fanatics would explain that away. And we would say, no, we actually think more of Floyd than you do, apparently, because we want him to fight better opposition and not because we want him to lose. I mean, maybe that's a little part of it, but it's because we expect greater things from him. And that's what I'm seeing from Tank. And Frank Martin goes up in the rankings after he loses, and it's the same thing with Mario Barrios here. So my point is, if Pacquiao is going to win a belt, it could be off of a guy like Mario Barrios. I just don't think much of him. He likely got a gift decision in his last fight. It was a close fight.
Okay, but Manny Pacquiao is 45 years old. Manny Pacquiao has not won a fight since like it's been like 5 years since the Thurman fight.
There's that.
And he hasn't fought in 3 years. So like what?
Yeah.
I mean, I would like him or hate him or whatever. Like the guy, he's active. He's fighting.
Yeah.
I think if Pacquiao wants to fight anyone, it should be Barrios. That's what I'll say. If it's anyone that he wants to get a belt on, Barrios is the right guy. I will say that much.
It's the power, D. It's the power that if Manny don't gotta chase you and he don't gotta find you, power's the last thing to go. And if he don't gotta chase you and he don't gotta find you and you're not running away all night, then you gonna feel the power. And Mario is not so defensively sound, is so slick that Manny can't hit him. Nah, Manny gonna hit him. So I like Manny's chances in that fight. It's not because I'm optimistic. It's because Mario, you're just the guy they hyped up because Tank knocked you out. That's why. That's all.
Yeah, but okay. Let's say he wins that fight. All right. Like he's not gonna call it a day. I just won. I'm welterweight champion of the world again. He's gonna want to fight Boots. He's gonna
Ryan versus Pacquiao, bro. You know what? You don't remember the rumor from 2 years ago? Ryan Garcia versus Manny Pacquiao.
Can I mention that we're completely forgetting what Barrios did to Ugas? Not to use the triangle theory, but I think you guys are underestimating a little bit that even though Barrios did look poor against Maidana, and obviously Tank stopped a very weight drain version of him, he did look quite good against Yordenis Ugas. He nearly stopped him. He had a really good performance. He beat him better than Porter did, who I thought he beat. Not to use like the triangle theory, but just to bring up, I thought Barrios did look very good in that fight. Personally.
But I'll say if we do that based on what the triangle usually says, that means that Manny's about to beat Barrios. That's what that means. Like if you do the triangle thing, right? Remember, Jermaine Taylor beat Bernard Hopkins.
Mm-hmm.
Bernard Hopkins beat Kelly Pavlik. Kelly Pavlik beat Jermaine Taylor. That's what the triangle tells you. So yeah. Ugas beat Pacquiao. Ugas got beat by Barrios. If we do the triangle, then that means Manny about to beat Barrios.
Yeah, but Barrios isn't 45 and out the ring for 3 years.
Yeah. This is the thing, though. Stylistically, I think this is the best play for Pacquiao.
I agree.
Stylistically, I think this is a good play for Barrios, obviously, because they can do this thing where they try to put a legend on their record, right? But the thing is, Ugas did a great job. He's a great style in hindsight for Pacquiao because he kept that jab. If you watch that fight, he did not let Pacquiao get in a rhythm. He just kept that jab in his face and kept up the output throughout the fight. But I just think another thing to throw in is Ugas was not the same. Give Spence a little credit here. He was not the same after that fight, after the eye injury.
And he was out for a year. Ugas was out for a year going into the Barrios fight, and he was coming off a knockout loss.
Well, speaking of being out, I mean, that's my point. Manny's been out of the ring for 3 years, and he's won one fight in 5.
So you could say it's a little sad. It's going to be a little sad Not a little. It's going to be a lot sad if Pacquiao comes back and loses, especially if it's bad to Mario Barrios.
Remember when Ray Leonard lost to Camacho? It's going to be like that. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, man.
So you got him losing already, D? You think he loses?
I don't think he wins this fight, bro. I think he's 45, bro.
I don't know, bro. I'm getting a
and he's
vibe,
he's like a guy who had a lot of fights. 45. He didn't look so good in the last fight. 45. Hasn't been active. 45.
He's Filipino, bro. They made out of special stuff. He's made out of vibranium, like all the different vibrators from Olympus.
That's true.
He's not like like Guero 45. Okay, I'm in America eating hot dogs 45. He's Filipino 45, bro. That dude is 30. He's 30 years old out here, B.
I just remember like when Chavez was at the end of his run and these journeymen were beating him, and I don't know, man. That's how I'm gonna feel if Mario Barrios beats Manny Pacquiao. I'm just gonna put that out there.
I just don't think that.
And then the Tank fan, they go, "Oh yeah, Tank beat a guy that beat Pac-Man." Like, so, they're gonna do
context. With no context. That's true though. That is true.
They don't care about the context. Hey, speaking of Tank, really quick. So Ray Glacier put out like less than 200,000. One of my sources told me under 300,000 for sure. Tank Davis, Martin pay-per-views, or numbers that are reported or rumored. Are you shocked, Ring?
No, I got a tip from a source that said it's under 100,000. The real number is under 100,000 or around 100,000, around there. Am I shocked? No, because Tank by himself has never put up astronomical numbers ever. Without Ryan, the pay-per-views hover at or around 200,000 buys or under, because Isaac Cruz, they didn't even put out a number for that one, and he was a late replacement. So you can make the inference that, well, it must have been less than the normal 200,000 you do because you didn't even put out a number. So no, I'm not surprised. I mean, I said this already, that people don't go to Amazon for boxing. So just because it's a big platform doesn't mean you have the inside track on the consumers. On top of that, it's not a fight that people were asking you to have. It's not a high profile fight. And you could put Benavidez on there. I bought the goddamn thing. I did buy it. But I'm like, as much as I like Benavidez versus Vosdick, that's because I watch too much goddamn boxing. Is anybody else out there excited that a 37-year-old Vosdick is back? No, that's just me, dog. Like, it's not a lot of people. So I'm not surprised, D. I'm not surprised, bro, at all.
And here's the thing. And then Ryan Haney didn't do that good. So it did a lot better than this, but it didn't do that good. So it is what it is. Calix, the face of boxing. Let's say he did 200,000. I mean, we want to round up as much as we can. Are you shocked?
No. But this is part of the Tank Davis theorem too, is he can just call himself the face of boxing, and he is, right? The American public, the American journalists just go with it. Yeah, he's the face of boxing. Based off of what? It doesn't have to be based off of anything. You don't have to. We don't work that way in America anymore. Like, we don't have to provide numbers. We don't have to provide any kind of evidence. It just is what it is, right? So they're that desperate for an American star that is not there. We don't have an American star. How many times have we said this, DStyle? We don't have an American star right now. It's Canelo, who's Mexican, and he's the biggest star in America, but there are no American stars right now. None.
That's why I'm all in for Bam, bro. Bam is my guy. Abdullah Mason he has good things. He's showing me good things. Shushu Carrington, good things. I like Richard Torres. I like the mustache. He looks like Tom Selleck. I really like him.
Rick Rude.
Rick Ravishing, Rick Rude, him too, So
yeah, but Ring, the problem is,
you're right though. You're right. You are right.
Ring, this is the thing I've been saying, and people can agree or not, is all of the young American stars, right, the ones coming up, have let us down. None of them can do anything sustainable. They have a great performance. They retire. They go mental health, whatever. Bam is the only one who has consistently put it together throughout fights, but then they'll say, oh, he's not fighting anybody because they don't know anybody down there, and they'll say he's just a midget and we're not going to pay attention. And the sad part about it is, when I went to Canelo Golovkin 3 and Bam fought right before, the place is only 50 to 60% full. And you can hear a pin drop in there. And then this weekend, I hear they're papering that event in Phoenix. So there's a disconnect in the market, the American market, between Bam and the market. But the sad thing is, he's the one right now. He is the best young American fighter. I would argue, besides Bud, he's the best American fighter right now.
Yeah, you could argue that. And he's from Texas, by the way. I just want to put that out there.
Well, no, but I mean, the main thing is he's Mexican, and I often pretend to be Mexican. So he is Mexican. I often pretend that I'm from there too. He is of Mexican descent, but he's a pleasure to watch. Honestly, that's the main thing. Bam is not in boring fights. Like, he really is not in boring fights. And I'd rather watch Bam 7 days out of 7 than Shakur, than Devin, than Ryan, any of these young. Teofimo hit or miss, dog. 1 minute you look great, the next minute you fucking suck, bro. Bam is more consistent than all of them, dog. Like, he be doing this thing, he be fucking people up, man. You know,
Hey, Mighty Max, well, what do you make of the number? Do you believe them? Do you think maybe they're higher, lower? What are your thoughts on Tank's numbers here?
Yeah, I definitely believe the numbers that are being reported. It's at a point where boxing puts almost any big fight on pay-per-view. I mean, when you look at the pay-per-views we used to get a little under 10 years ago and a little over 10 years ago, they used to only be the best fights in the sport. And I don't know if Andy Ruiz versus Chris Areola is what started the trend. I don't remember the exact fight where they just started putting any semi-big name on pay-per-view. They started doing the same with Tank. And when you look at his fights, they're not bad fights. Tank versus Frank Martin, I was looking forward to it. It was going to be a nice matchup. But at the same time, it's not a pay-per-view worthy fight. You could argue Frank wasn't even top 10 in his weight class. He was very unknown compared to the other big names in sport. I believe he only headlined one event. So it doesn't surprise me at all. And also, obviously, with streaming and other stuff, that doesn't help. But at the same time, I don't really think it makes too much of a difference because we've seen that the big fights still get big numbers, even with streaming. So I really just think it has to do with the fact that even though Tank is a big name, the fight itself, it wasn't a huge fight. It wasn't pay-per-view worthy. It was a good card for the hardcore fans, but at the same time, I feel that the PBC and all these other networks are just getting way too comfortable putting fights that we don't need to see on pay-per-view, fights that aren't pay-per-view worthy. So I'm definitely not surprised with 200,000.
I push back on that a little. Because I think Top Rank does a good job of keeping fights off pay-per-view. They don't really do a lot of them. And DAZN, they do them, but it's usually for a big, like something big or something that's quasi-big. The PBC are the main ones that keep putting things on pay-per-view, and a part of it is greed, but another part of it is the lack of a budget. I said Amazon's not giving them people no money. I've been said that. When they struck the deal last year, I said, this is not like the Showtime deal where you getting, 80 mil or 100 mil or whatever you were getting years ago. They're just distributing your shit. They're not giving you any money. So you don't have a choice but to put it on pay-per-view, basically, because where the hell else is the money going to come from? I wouldn't be surprised if those fighters are working off the net, because that's what it looks like. It look like y'all working off the net. Y'all hoping something come in so y'all can pay these people.
It's all out of necessity. And people are acting like all of a sudden, out of the goodness of their heart, PBC wants quality control. And they look at what they're giving us, Tank and David on the same card. But really what they're telling you is neither one of them can sell. Neither one of them can sell. It's hard to build up Benavidez as the monster when 2 out of the last 3 fights he doesn't get a stoppage. And on top of that, 50,000 for one of them, 50,000 for the Plant, under 100,000 for Boo Boo. And this one, he's on the undercard. So it's hard to sell that, and it's hard to sell Tank as the face of boxing if he has David Benavidez on his undercard, excuse me, and they're doing maybe 200,000. Besides Ryan, he's been at or under 200,000. It's just, it's not working. There's a disconnect between them and the market.
That's because they're betraying. They're kind of betraying the model. See, ideally, you would have did Benavidez versus Plant on regular Showtime. That would have got you upwards of 1 million to 2 million views on a Saturday night. But you guys want to be greedy and the promise of big money and pay-per-view. When I'm sorry, Caleb, I like you. I think you're a nice person, and your wife is fine as hell. But that's not a pay-per-view, bro. I'm sorry, Andre. I'm sorry, yo. Watching you get knocked out was cool, but that's not pay-per-view worthy.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and Mighty Max touched on it. So fights that are not pay-per-view shouldn't be pay-per-view. And the way we know they shouldn't be pay-per-view, they don't sell. And I'm actually tired of the excuse that, because of all the pirating, that's why they don't sell, that Espinoza would spew out to people. Actually, no, because what about the successful pay-per-views? By definition, should they fail if it's all pirating? And why is it that all the most pirated events in history are also the most sold in history? So Pacquiao Mayweather, no other fight was pirated more than that one. Mayweather McGregor was pirated to high end. It's still sold over 4 million buys. There's a correlation with that. The reality is the fights that don't sell, they were not really pirated that much either. People were doing some other shit on Saturday night. They just weren't sitting around watching. Oh, I'm not gonna go out tonight. I'm gonna stream. The Tank Davis fight versus Martin. That wasn't on the table for most people, right?
Yeah, like Frank Martin's fighting. I got to stay home, bro. I can't go eat Italian tonight. Frank Martin is fighting.
Well, people need to understand what makes a pay-per-view big is when it's an event, when it's the it thing, when it's a cool thing that everyone wants to do that weekend. So the bar scene wants it. The people that throw fight parties want them, and then people throw fight parties are more likely to buy it than to illegally stream it with a laptop connected to a damn TV.
Es la cuestión que vende la pelea. When I remember when Felix Trinidad fought Oscar De La Hoya, and I fucking hated Oscar, man. I just did, but he beat Chavez, so I fucking hated him. And it was not knowing that drew everybody out. It was not knowing that drew us all out. That God, I want Felix to fucking beat this fucking guy. I need him to do it. You know what I'm saying? And it's not knowing that makes us all watch. Whereas, bro, who didn't know Gervonta was going to knock out Frank? Who didn't know that? You know what I'm saying? Like everybody knew. Everybody knew, like, bro, he's gonna knock him out, though.
I bet 7-12, and it was like shitty odds because like everybody knew that was gonna happen. Like, it's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
what are you gonna do?
Yep, and that's the sad part about it is there's actually something there with Tank, and they refuse to do it for the market because all he has to do is fight the fights. That's it. Like Ring said. The thing that keeps people away and are from hitting that buy button is we've seen this TV show before, and I don't need to keep seeing it and keep seeing it and keep seeing it. We're all picking them to win. If 100% of people are picking them to win, then what's the draw? The sad thing is he's actually got a very fun style, tightrope type of style to where he wants to knock guys out. He's constantly throwing almost strictly power shots that he sets up through high IQ boxing, and I want to be a fan. Just fight the fights. That's all you got to do.
That's why I like Cali, man, because he's so positive and shit. Like, he finds a way to say something nice. I disagree. I think he's limited, and I see where he's limited. And your limitations are disguised behind who you're fighting because you dropped all three judges. All three of them had him losing the first 3 rounds to Frank Martin. I'm fucking telling you.
Not to hold this up, but do you think that's because that's what I've speculated for a couple of years now. Do you think it's terrible management, or do you think it's they see something in him that he's way too economical for a lightweight to beat guys like Lomachenko, Shakur Stevenson, Devin
So
Haney,
we're gonna touch on that anyway. So let's go to that.
Okay.
We're gonna talk about Lomachenko Tank being rumored. So let's just dive into that. I personally like the fight, and I'm just gonna go on record right now. I got Loma in that fight. I think Lomachenko wins that fight. I think the strategy that Tank has, I'm just going to walk him down and he's going to eventually make a mistake. And that's too elementary. That's too simple. That's not going to work on Lomachenko. You're going to have to get way more creative than that. You're going to need to use way more IQ than that, in my opinion. And that's just not going to work. And historically speaking, really good boxers beat punchers. It's just historically speaking, they're bad match. It's just the way a boxer like Loma that can work angles, and I think will beat Tank. Also, I think Loma will actually take the lead. I don't think he's going to try to fight the perfect fight and stay away. I think he's going to be right in Tank's face, and I think he's going to make Tank uncomfortable. I got Loma winning a decision now. I just want to go on record and say that.
I like Styles. He makes fucking predictions with his fucking balls, bro. You know what I'm saying? Fuck the fence. Fuck the bullshit. I got Loma.
Right.
I fucking love shit like that. That's why sports shit, you fucking pricks.
Well, look,
Sports.
I picked Loma to win when it wasn't popular to pick on a win against Haney. People were saying crazy things like Haney's going to outclass him, embarrass him, and that was crazy.
Think Loma won. I still think Loma
I did.
won.
I did too.
Motherfucker,
Yeah, I had
not
to
tell me
Loma.
nothing. That shit, motherfucker, not gonna tell me.
Yeah, like right now, like this should be a bigger fight, Loma versus Tank for the undisputed champ. Like you know what I mean? And they kind of ruined all that, in my opinion. Like it's crazy. But Mighty Max, hypothetically, that fight were to happen, who do you favor?
I got Loma, man. I've had Loma from the start. I've always picked Loma to beat Gervonta Davis, especially back in 2016, 2017. I do feel the gap has obviously gotten tighter and closer, and Tank has obviously gotten better and he's gotten bigger, but I still think deep down in my gut, something's telling me, just looking at both fighters, looking at their styles and the way I expect the fight to play out, I am favoring Loma still by a competitive decision. I feel he's going to take a little bit of a nice, comfortable lead throughout the fight. And I think Tank's going to start to adjust, but I think it's going to be a little too late. And I feel Loma's going to know how to evade a lot of Tank's work and make Tank frustrated and make the fight very uncomfortable for Tank. And I mean, obviously they can rob Loma, as we've seen him get robbed in the past. It's a very high possibility, but I think Loma, I think he's learned from a few of his previous fights where, I mean, obviously not including the Teofimo one, but when you look at the Devin Haney fight in particular, you see that he kind of gave up that 12th round a little bit. He kind of let it slip through his fingers when it comes to the judge's perspective. And I feel that he's been fighting a lot more aggressively, much more assertively in his last few fights. And I think against Tank, he's going to dig just a little bit deeper than he did in his previous bouts, and I see him getting the decision victory. I have Lomachenko defeating Gervonta Davis. However, I do think Tank is a very live dog, as expected, but I am favoring Loma in that bout.
Ring, how do you like that fight? Do you even think it happens? By the way, do you think it's gonna happen?
You know me, bro. I'm not sold. I'm not sold. But it is something that they would do, wouldn't they? It's as tactless as some of their other moves. Yeah, we'll fight you now, Loma. A lot of great points from the both of you. I would say that stylistically, Loma is an easier fight for Gervonta than, say, Shakur. He relies on counterpunching, Gervonta. So if you got a guy throwing 3 and 4 punches at a time, you got a better shot at catching him in between the shots than you would an economic outside guy who's going to stay away. However, a lot of the points y'all made are valid that, bro, you looking for one punch to do him. When he gets under that punch, if he bobs, if he weaves, if he slips, if he pivots, if he moves, he's already going to be out of range of you, you know? This is not Frank Martin. This is not Isaac Cruz, you know? This is not one of them. And historically, there is a precedence that suggests that, you know, what usually happens when a top-ranked fighter beats a PBC fighter. You know what usually happens, right? So I feel you. I just have to be careful because I hate Gervonta. Like, I hate him the way I hate water bugs, the way I hate cockroaches. I hate him. So I have to be careful with picking against him out of hate as opposed to looking at the fight and saying, this is what I think is going to happen. Because, shit, my brain has fog. Mighty Max just said it. He could get fucking robbed, bro. I picked Loma to beat Devin, and to me, he beat Devin. Like, that was not hard to score. He beat Devin. But they didn't give it to him, bro.
Do you hate him more than like canned tamales?
I hate him more than tax time. I hate him. Yeah. I hate Fury a little more than I hate him. Like, I really hate Tyson Fury, like a lot. But I do hate Tank. I do hate him, and I do put black magic on him. Like, I have a voodoo doll of Tank, and I do shit to it, you know.
But it didn't work with Martin.
I mean, you see how many? No, you see how many times he gets arrested, so it's working.
Hey, shout out to Virtuoso with the super chat. Much appreciated. He says, I remember I picked Chocolate to whoop Julio Little Caesar Martinez, and Ring was sitting there worried Choco was going to lose. Never forget, he says.
No, I was worried. Choco's my dude. What makes me
sad
sad
worried about that fight for real?
It's because Choco is old, bro, and it's like he's at an age where the next fight, the old man could show up. You know, he's old for a super flyweight.
He took that kid to school.
Bro, he beat the shit out of Julio, bro. That was beautiful, bro.
What's up, Pacquaio against Mario Barrios or something? Like to show up.
But you know, like with Choco, I got a soft spot for Choco because this dude was so good for so long that by the time they started covering him, you know, he was so good for so long, man. And time he got here and they're putting him on HBO and all this stuff. Oh, it's his 4th weight. And then he's a hype job. Bro, he had to go to 4 divisions to take an L. You understand that? He had to go through 4 divisions before somebody could whoop his ass. So, you know, I love Choco, man. Shout out to Choco.
Hey, Calix, what do you think? Loma, Tank, do you think it happens? And who would you favor? Like, who's your early favorite here?
I do think it's going to happen, and I wouldn't have said that before, but part of the reason is the landscape has changed drastically because PBC has to do things out of necessity now. If it was the old days, this wouldn't have happened. They would have kept, they don't make other promoters rich, right? They would have kept everything on Showtime, and they would have had to come over to Showtime to get the fight, and all that's seem to have fallen down, right? Because they got to keep their fighters active. So they're more prone to do these cross promotional fights that they've not done well at. They have gotten destroyed by top ranked fighters. And that trend could continue. Look, one thing we need to hammer home as content creators, and they're going to say that we're just saying this stuff because we're afraid Loma's going to lose. But no, it's because it's the truth. And you're not going to get away with it. Is this fight has been 7 years coming. For 7 years, and this is documented. There's a paper trail out there every year. We're not ready for this fight. We're not in a rush for this fight. And Loma's going to have to wait all the way back to 2017. So this has spanned multiple weight classes, almost over a half a decade now. And they need to know that no, your guy waited till the right time, right opportunity to jump at Lomachenko. That doesn't mean both things can be true at once. If he does beat Lomachenko, that's still by far his best win. That still is a great win. That does make him probably the best lightweight at that point, or the top lightweight at that point, I should say. Maybe not. Maybe number 2 behind Shakur. I don't know. We'll have those discussions, but they waited. They waited for the right time. And will it be a calculated risk gone wrong? Will it be a cherry pick gone wrong? I should call it. Possibly. But I think they're forced into fights now because I think we're seeing the economics at work, and they cannot do numbers. They cannot pay these guys what they want to be paid to fight the Frank Martins of the world anymore. I don't believe the economics work anymore. So he's being forced into this, and that's sad. Where I would disagree with you, where you said earlier, D-Style, I do think Tank, it's hard to say because he's so untested and unproven because the competition just hasn't been there, right? They've been shooting at deer in cages up until this point in his career for 11 going on 12 years. So it's hard to say who he truly is because he hasn't had anybody that can combat.
Well, Isaac Cruz.
Anybody he's been in there with. Frank Martin was not a step up for him. That's the sad part. This was on par with who he's fought. A 30-year-old prospect. That's on par. So, but I do think there is some high Q trap setting in him. Will that work with Lomachenko? That's the question. And I disagree with you on how Lomachenko should fight that fight. You say he should take the lead. I do think he should take the lead and win early rounds, but I think the mistake that the opponents of Tank have made up until this point is when Tank ratchets it up, they continue to fight the same way. I think that Lomachenko needs to fight a calculated, patient fight in this fight and just continue to outbox him for 12 rounds. And I think he's capable of that. Don't get into these 3, 4, 5 punch combinations that he's used to. You know, throw your 2 punches, step to the side, throw your 2 punches, step to the side, back this guy off, get underneath him. And Lomachenko is capable of doing those things even at 36 years old, I believe. And I think he should fight.
I just think no one has tried to back him up. Like everyone,
I agree. And Lomachenko's capable.
Rolly.
He's going to show him.
Right.
But I think he had a string on Rolly. Like all that was like he was playing. Like I don't know. I don't think.
But D-Style, you know the sad part about this is I brought this up the week. You remember this, the week of Spence versus Crawford, and I said y'all messed up because y'all made this fight too high stakes for Spence. And that was a mistake. He should have fought this fight and got it out of the way years ago. It would have been better for him, number one. And number two, if he loses that fight, he can bounce back. He's young enough to bounce. They made it too high stakes for him. He loses the fight, and that was his full legacy. This is the same thing with Tank. This is a high stakes fight for both of them, really, because Lomachenko has put together this great resume, right?
So
and he is a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Kelly,
but at 135.
I think people would die if he lost. Like they would literally die in the fall, drop dead and die, dog. If he lost,
that's what I'm saying. Imagine if he loses that fight and that's his go-to fight, right? And he loses it. They made it too high stakes. If he loses to Lomachenko 3, 4, 5 years ago, it's okay. You bounce back. But now, that's bad.
Something in my gut is telling me that Loma is going to really give it his all against Tank compared to his previous outings. Like, I think we could get the best version of Loma. And the reason I say that is because of how built up it's been. And I feel it's personal for Loma against Tank. Well, it wasn't as personal in his other fights. I feel if we get Loma against Tank, he's going to really make it personal because of the build up in his mind. Now, obviously, we saw when it was personal of him against Teofimo, he gave the worst performance of his career. So who knows? Maybe he'll freeze up for the first 7 rounds again and then come on and lose a decision. But I think this is a different animal. I think Loma's learned from that. He also was allegedly injured for that TO fight, but I'm not going to get too much into that because it's all alleged. But I think Loma's going to really try to play Tank. I think he's going to actually
I do think he was injured in that fight.
I believe he was injured.
It's we're in an era now where, because of the whole Wilder thing. No one likes to bring up like quote unquote excuses, but you know it is what it is. Like I
credit to Teofimo like because the other thing was Loma was injured, but he also had to be mindful of the counter. You can't let you can't just let your hands go. This guy's waiting he's setting a trap, so you got to be careful.
I just think like for me. Alex, this is what I'm saying. Loma's going to dictate in that fight. He's going to press him when he wants to. He's going to box and use angles when he wants to. He'll stay on the outside. I think he's going to be the ring general in that fight. He's going to be dictating to Tank how this fight's going to happen, when it happens, and how it happens. He's going to mix it up.
Die because I can literally see people like literally exploding, like boom.
I think it would be worse than Spence Crawford. I think it would the meltdown and Fury.
Yeah, because they like Tank more than they like Spence. Let's be honest, guys. Like they like Spence, and they also like Crawford more than they like Loma. So
they're gonna.
I also don't buy the. Look, there's no doubt that he's a puncher. Look, there's no doubt he's a puncher for a lightweight. He hits hard. He could knock any. If he catches you clean, he could knock any lightweight out in the world, right? I just want to say that. However,
he didn't knock out Usyk, bro.
I just think people overrate. It's almost like a wives' tale. Like the tales people talk about the power of Tank. Like, oh yeah, he's knocking out light heavyweights. No, he's not, bro. Like, well, he's always releasing all his footage of beating up red cats. You know,
kids, bro. Like he releases footage.
Where are the clips of him knocking out? Even Clarissa tried to put out clips that, oh, look at me, I'm fighting guys. I don't see these clips of Tank Davis hurting light heavyweights, and people say that, oh, he hits like a heavyweight. No, he doesn't, bro.
No, he doesn't. So then what's Isaac Cruz then? He must be like a super heavyweight then, right? Because you broke your hand on him.
Best wins all somewhat have some type of stimulation noticeable. Like Pedraza being 3 divisions below the weight he should have been, Barrios being a skeleton in that bout, Ryan Garcia being weight drained as well. I'm not going to say that it's necessarily Tank's fault. They'll agree to it. I understand. But people take all these wins out of context. They say, oh, he beat Mario Barrios, who beat Ugas. He beat Ryan Garcia, who beat Devin Haney. He beat Pedraza better than Loma did. But they're ignoring the basic premise that none of those guys are at their best against Tank.
And that's another interesting point because I don't think he can play those games with Loma because Loma's a natural. He's close to lightweight, so he can't hit him with the rehydration clause. He can't hit him with the catch weight. So what's he going to hit him with? I don't think
it's like watching a Harlem Globetrotters and being surprised that they win the game, bro. That's what it really is. You're surprised that he knocked out Tank, bro? I mean, you surprised he knocked out Frank? What you thought was going to happen, bro?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think Tank looked that good in the Gamboa fight. Gamboa was
that was an awful performance. That was a terrible outing from Tank.
Exactly. I think we're gonna get the best. I don't know. I think we'll get the best of both fighters. This is the thing, though. There's an arrogance about Lomachenko, and it's a great thing, and it can also be a bad thing. And I'll give you a specific example of how it could be bad. Is I would argue in the Devin Haney fight. He actually outboxed Devin Haney clearly by the narrative going in was straight left versus jab. He completely took away Devin Haney's jab. Devin Haney landed 20 jabs the whole fight. And he took away the jab by conceding Haney's body punches because Haney's body punches did not affect him at all. And he conceded the body punches because he wanted to counter with the straight left. If you watch all these highlights of Haney landing the body shots, there's a left hand that comes, a straight left that comes right behind it as a counter. And for some reason, the 3 judges who were paid to pick up on these things didn't pick up on it. It's not surprising that some of these unofficial scorecards didn't pick up on it because they wanted Loma to win, or they wanted Haney, or wanted Loma to lose, or wanted Haney to win. But Loma conceded that, figuring that everybody would see it. And they didn't, unfortunately. So that could be the arrogance of Loma, but at the same time, I don't think that stuff's going to backfire on him in this.
But if you listen to some Haney fans, he damaged the ribs of Loma and sent him to the hospital or whatever dumb shit they'd be saying. I mean, this is crazy. What I will say is this. You know, I think it was Ring that mentioned like the whole, like Taylor beat Hopkins and then Pavlik beat Taylor, and then obviously Hopkins schooled Pavlik. I think people are doing this. Like in the back of their heads, they're doing this. They're doing the whole, well, Loma lost to Haney lost to Ryan, and Tank beat Ryan. So that's what they're going to do and going into this fight. So because of that, they're going to say to themselves, oh, yeah, well, obviously Tank wins, right? And there's also this thing that I'm not saying Loma's a big lightweight, but he's a lightweight at this point of his career. And people talk about him, he's this itty-bitty little dude. Like, no. This guy has stopped lightweights. He stopped Linares. He stopped Nakatani when Teofimo couldn't. He could punch hard enough to get your attention.
He stopped Cambodia. He stopped Cambodia. Devin didn't stop Cambodia. Teofimo couldn't stop Cambodia. He stopped George Cambodia. So
body work.
Also, I feel like Tank, he has amazing and exceptional one-punch power, but I feel like he doesn't have the best thudding power, and he doesn't let his hands go enough. I feel for sure we saw Frank was able to outwork him and be up on the cards before getting stopped, or nearly up on the cards. He was up the first few rounds. We saw Rolly was up before getting stopped. We've seen all these guys win multiple rounds against Tank Davis, and none of these guys are anywhere near Loma's league in almost any aspect. We saw Isaac Cruz arguably win. I like how people forget the fact that a bunch of people had Cruz winning that fight or had the fight even. I had the fight a draw personally. So I feel a lot of people forget that Tank, even though he always catches them and everyone remembers the exceptional knockout and the exceptional highlight, people always forget what happened prior. Even Leo Santa Cruz dragged up multiple weight classes. He was outworking Tank and arguably dropped him in the first round as well. So I feel like Loma is stylistically, Loma, definitely Shakur, and even Devin. I know people talk about Devin and what happened against Ryan. I understand, but even stylistically, those guys are all pretty bad matchups for someone like Tank, who's very lethargic.
I think Teofimo too. I think Teofimo.
Yeah, Teofimo too. Teofimo too.
Teofimo would fight up to that fight, and he would destroy Tank. I think.
I don't know. I don't trust him.
He's very inconsistent.
I do in big fights. I do in that big fight ring. I think we'll see Josh Taylor Teofimo in that fight.
The problem with that fight, Teofimo excels against people who are either combination punchers or aggressive fighters. So pay attention that's Josh Taylor. Yep. You were able to do what you did with Josh. You're able to do what you did with Loma. But if the guy boxes or moves or hangs back, Teofimo struggles. Sandor Martin, George Kambosos, Jermaine Ortiz, that if the guy's moving away, moving around, he's hanging back, Teofimo struggles. And I would love to see that fight, but I don't know if Teofimo wins that fight. I'm just going to say I don't know, because you're up and down, bro. You're up and down. You're not. Yeah. You ain't supposed to be looking like that with Sandor, bro. Sandor got beat by Anthony Yeager.
Sandor Martin.
Sandor. Don Flamenco. Come on, baby.
I mean, he still won the fight, in my opinion. But
hey, the last thing I'll say on the Tank thing
twice.
is it's gonna be the lead up's gonna be beautiful because you're gonna see the nervous energy from his fan base. The same nervous energy you saw against Spence. They're just not used to having their fighters go into reality and get out of that mythical bubble. It's a safe world they live in where everything is fought on paper, and they can say that guy looked bad, so we beat him. That guy looked bad, so we beat him. That guy beat that guy, so we beat that guy. Now they have to actually
die, Kelly. I'm not even playing. I really think there would be like that night if he lost, a lot of people would die, like a lot. Like
so. Speaking of Teofimo, he's back against Clagget, right? Over there in Florida. All right. So Clagget, is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
Clagget. Okay. What do you think of this fight? Let's start with Calix.
Once again, these are the fights where Teofimo just comes off flat. It's weird. Like, and it's a fight that he wins, but we all come out of it saying, God, like, what is this? Who is this guy? Like, what is this? And I think we'll see more of that. The same. Last I checked, I was about to go on and check again. Teofimo was a 12-1 favorite. I think that's about right. It's a fight he should win going away. But once again, I don't know. I think he'll look flat for a while. I think he'll win an easy decision. And that's kind of where I'm at. And unfortunately, look, nothing against Florida, but he wants to fight this fight in Florida. For whatever reason, and I love the state of Florida. I'm there all the time. But the problem with Teofimo is I felt you should have built that guy in New York. And he should be out of the ballroom by now, and he should be in the big arena. And they should have built this guy as a New York fighter. I know taxes suck and he wants to fight in Florida. That's true, but I feel like he should have conquered that New York market by now before you branch him out. And he's just not. It's not connecting. It's not connecting.
The problem here, Calix, is that he deviated. He got away from Top Rank with the whole Triller thing, and that stifled all his momentum that he had after the Teofimo. I'm sorry, the Loma fight.
You're right.
I remember that. Yeah.
And then he lost, and then you know what I mean. And the excuses were even more embarrassing than the loss. Like,
so it's his own doing. It is.
Yeah.
But he's a 12-1 favorite. So, and I think that's about right. Method of victory has him. He's favored to win by KO, actually. So they think he's going to win by KO. I tend to think it's going to be a decision.
Okay.
I think
Mighty
Clagget
Max,
survives.
what you think of the fight?
Well, I don't think it's going to be a decision. The only reason I don't is because I can't see Teofimo having 2 flat performances in a row. I feel like he's going to have a little chip on his shoulder and he's going to look to make a statement. And I actually see him go for like a 3rd or 4th round KO. I think he's going to really come out blazing this time. I mean, obviously, it may end up being another dull, wide decision for Teofimo where he underperforms. But as someone who is a Floridian, I have zero desire to go to this fight, funnily enough. And I think that says a lot because, you see Teofimo Lopez fighting in your area. You'd expect, it's a nice fight. I'll go and attend. But he's fighting an absolute terrible fight, a complete mismatch against someone that no one wants to see him fight. This is no disrespect to Clagget because he's actually not that bad of a fighter. He's fringe level. But at the same time, you're Teofimo Lopez. You just fought, a terrible outing. You looked really poor. You need to go in there and remind everyone why you're as hyped as you are. And even if you make a statement against Steve Clagget, it really doesn't mean too much. And it's a shame, it's definitely not the fight any of us want to see. I think it's a very poor matchup. And I have pretty much zero excitement or zero desire to see this fight. It's just, I guess, another stay busy for Teofimo, but I'm not excited for it. I think it's a very, very poor matchup for him.
Ring?
I think I'm going to watch Bam. That's what I think about the Lopez fight.
Yeah.
No, it's some real shit.
Simply.
Teofimo has a rhythm. So after a bad performance, he has a really good one. Or after a good performance, he has a really bad one. The rhythm is you look good with Lomachenko, you look bad with George. You look good with Campas, you look bad with Sandor. You look good with Taylor, you look bad with Jermaine Ortiz. So by that rhythm, he's about to look very good this weekend. And I, like Max, have him winning by knockout. I got nothing against Steve Clagget. God bless him and all his family members. But he's a club fighter. He's a club fighter. He's an aggressive guy. He's a mid-range guy. You're going to be there for the counters. So I think Teofimo's going to look great. But to the point that Max just made, what the hell is the point in looking great against Steve Clagget? My man Bam is fighting Gallo Estrada, bro. What the fuck are you doing, dog? Like, who the fuck is this?
He should be beyond that. He should be beyond that point, right?
Yeah, and he's in one of the best weight classes in the sport too. That's the funny part.
Ishmael Barroso. Ishmael Barroso. That's who he should be fighting. Now that I would have paid attention to that.
It rhymes with Saget.
My guy Ishmael might have landed something in that fight.
You know what I'm saying? But that's why I don't
watch. Not got 20 weeks as the ref, and we're good.
Here's like obviously we're all expecting him to win, and there's nothing really like I'm not concerned about him losing or nothing like that. I think he should win this fight. It will be funny if he lost, but I don't think he's gonna lose. Like I don't. Sometimes I think like Teo lives in some alternate universe, and
he does.
I just don't. And then he's still angry at Eddie Hearn because he lost to Cambozos. I mean, It is what and you could just tell because he's still talking about Eddie Hearn and Matchroom, and he's talking about everything except like I don't know. He's just out there, and then he tries to talk poetic and like he's some smart guy. It isn't like there, bro. Like
D-Style.
Yeah.
Can you imagine how hilarious a Teo versus Ryan fight in pressure would be? I mean, that would be comedy gold. I would love to see.
That would be like putting 2 cats in one blender, bro, and then hitting fucking Ice Crush. Ryan is terrible, bro.
But I never heard a guy like try to sound so smart, but it's like a word salad. And you're like, well, what the fuck are you talking about? It's confusing.
Bro, he think he invented.
Retire?
He think he invented undisputed. Like, you understand, right? That not only were you not undisputed, but Usyk was undisputed before you, literally in the cruiserweight division. Yes, he was before whatever you did in late 2020. He won all the bouts. You didn't start a trend, bro. If we're gonna say somebody started a trend, I don't know. I guess it was Crawford because he got undisputed at 140 before you beat Loma. So,
yeah, but he brought up the other day. I heard an interview the other day. I hope it was in a recent interview. It sounded recent. Where he's still like, yeah, and I wanted to do great things. That's why I wanted to have a double undisputed fight at a catchweight. Like, you can't do that. Like what are you talking about? Like, what are we doing, bro?
I love how he pretends to call out Bud too. That's my favorite right now.
Yeah, I wish they would just give him Bud.
Me too. Me too. Like, yeah, Teofimo, fuck it, bro. Because you out here struggling with Sandor. You get him, Tiger. Go fight Bud, bro. You the best, bro.
Can you imagine he goes out there and just schools Bud?
Don't play like that, bro. Don't play like that. Don't play like that.
Well, because he shocked me when he was beating up Taylor. I'm like, damn, I didn't see that.
Bro, because he would be out of control. And I'm against like Lopez. Your ego is already out of control and you fucking lost. Imagine if you won, you lost to George, but you still going crazy out here.
He'd be on Kanye stuff at that point. He'd be Kanye.
Bro, he would float into the sun. He would literally just float away.
What the fuck was he saying? He's like death is the end, or what the fuck he was saying?
He said death is. He's saying some old Chinese Lao Tzu shit. I'm like, yo, chill the fuck out, dog. Just get a blowjob and win the fight, bro. What the fuck you talking about, bro?
I'm worth 100 million, and I'm worth this, and like I made Disney 100 million. I don't know what the hell he's talking about, bro. On what? The 1 million people that watch your fight on ESPN? Like, what?
Yeah.
Bro,
what are we doing?
Wow. That dude is wild.
That Ortiz fight was terrible. Oh my gosh, such a garbage fight.
That was such an ass fight, bro.
And on Thursday night. First on Thursday night, now he's competing with Bam. I mean, this guy's momentum is just getting better and better, isn't it?
Fucking like I said, man, Bam is. I love those weights because Americans don't watch them. That's why I love them. No toxicity, no narratives, no bullshit, none of the bullshit that fucks up other divisions. It's just you get Bam, great fighter, you get Gallo, veteran, legend, all the good shit. Old lion versus young lion. I don't care if they don't watch it. I don't want y'all watching the same fight.
I mean,
watch Teofimo.
It's like he'll take a bite of an apple, bro. He'll be like, you see, it may seem that I just took a bite out of an apple, but really what it is this is the fruit of life, and I am one of God's children, and it's God's children when I take a bite out of this apple, and I'm part of the circle of life.
He'll start eating Chinese food and quoting scripture, Proverbs chapter 6, verse 7. Like, get the fuck wrong with you? Just eat the fucking Chinese food, bro. Like, shit. It's like when I get Chinese food for my kid, he won't shut the fuck up. Just start.
You know why it bothers me? The reason it bothers me because I know that's not him. You're being fake, bro. Like you're that dude that said the N-word to Devin Haney. You know what I mean? And you were going back and forth. That's who you are. You're the guy that was talking to Loma saying, I'm going to beat you. Like that was you. Like, I don't know what happened to that guy, right? Not everybody liked him. Like I get it. Not everybody's for everybody. But at least it was you. Like, at least be yourself.
He's trying to be like, and I'm like, yo, listen, primero, if you was Boricua, I'd have been like, está bien. You Honduran, bro. And you like on some like weird Bronx type shit. Like, yeah, you ride the D train, but you know what I'm saying? And you shouldn't be saying that motherfucking shit. I'm going to say the shit. You shouldn't be saying that shit. There's no reason for you to, and I don't gatekeep that word. I'm saying you making your life harder saying that shit. Stop saying that shit. Don't say that shit. Who you trying to sound like?
So, I mean, that's 100%. Let's talk about the other fight. The big fight. the fight I'm looking forward to. That is Gallo Estrada against Bam Rodriguez. This fight, it's crazy because Gallo's the man of this division. Okay. He's the dude. Yet, it just feels like he's just showing up to hand Bam the torch. It feels ceremonial. Like, yeah, he's just showing up to give this is the passing of the torch. Bam's taking over. He's gonna be the man of that's it. All right. And it's like a great career, Gallo. You're right off to the sunset, and that's how it feels. But it shouldn't feel that way. Like Gallo is. I know he hasn't fought in 2 years. He won a trilogy against Chocolatito, right? And here he is. But I mean, he's the veteran here, a lot of experience. He's only 34, but I understand he's been in a lot of wars. But it shouldn't feel that way. Like, this should feel like, Bam's going to fight Gallo, and he's going to have to earn this shit. And I'm going to tell you, I'm picking Bam to win this fight, but I don't think it's going to be an easy fight. I
got Bam winning, bro. I got Bam winning, but I learned my lesson with Maris Briedis. I thought Maris Briedis was going to get blown out, bro, by Jail Pataya. And so that's what I'm expecting, bro. That Gallo's going to make it a fight, bro. He's tough as shit. He's a hard bastard. He's been around a long time. He ate a lot of food that tastes bad. Sometimes he got mad. I think he can make it a fight. I really do. Like, even under these circumstances, I just feel, don't underestimate Gallo, bro. You have before. You didn't win that second Chocolatito fight. So
no. Yeah, he did.
He didn't win that fight.
7-5.
But he did win the third one, and that's real. He did win the third one. He did. So, I ain't gonna shit on him. But,
I wanted the Ioka fight, like, just close that chapter, the old guard, but like he goes for Bam, so it is what it is.
And I'm gonna tell you, for me to really think, I don't think there is a man in the division right now, because Ioka is the fifth Beatle. He is that good, dog. Both his losses were controversial. It wasn't never some shit where he got blown out or he got fucked up. And he avenged both losses, the one to Nietas and the one to Palicte. So I'm of the opinion that, look, I love Chocolatito. I really do. I love Gallo. But y'all never settled affairs with that man. Y'all never did. So until somebody do, I don't know about Gallo being a man that's super. I don't know.
Él es el gallo. He's the main dude, I'm saying.
But bad dude, though. Bad dude.
Calix, it feels like guys are showing up here. Here's the belt. All right, I'm out, guys. That's kind of the feeling. That's how people are talking about this fight. Like, it's a foregone conclusion. Bam's going to win. All right, let's move on. I had Beeb on him. He's not on right now, but I was talking to him like the other day, and he's like, he's wondering if Bam's going to get up for this fight because he's such a big favorite. Like, what? Like, you don't think he's going to get up for this fight? Like, he has to. What do you mean? Well, how do you feel about it, Calix?
So, when this fight was first announced, Bam was about a 2-1 favorite, and I'm pulling it up right now. I think he's up to 5-1 now. So a lot of money coming in on Bam. The market seems to be bullish on Bam. Yeah, 5-1 favorite.
Wow.
So people are looking at Bam to win this fight going away. I tend to agree with you there that it's almost seen as a foregone conclusion that a torch is going to be passed. I agree with what Ring just said on Ioka, because, and I brought this up to Dougie online a couple months back. There seems to be too long of a timetable of dudes being inactive and keeping things, and I don't necessarily agree with Gallo Estrada being seen as the guy in the weight class if he hasn't fought in 18 months. So I think there's too much inactivity there, and to me, he's not the guy in the weight class. To me, Ioka's that guy. And the thing with Bam, the trend is when he fights aging fighters in that weight class, he destroys them. Yeah. Quadras, Rungvisai, nobody expected him to do what he did to Rungvisai. Rungvisai, to me, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, Rungvisai.
Yeah, no, they all are, bro. They all.
But the fact that he's not seen that way is a huge red flag to the American market, that they don't see Rungvisai as a first ballot Hall of Famer, because that guy is. And that guy was one of the baddest men on the planet, one of the most ducked guys in the sport, or one of the guys you want to stay away from. That's a boogeyman. And Bam went in there, although an aged Rungvisai, and destroyed him. So this is the trend at 115 is Bam goes in there and destroys aging fighters. I think Gallo has more layers than those guys though. And it's gonna take longer for him to crack that shell. And Gallo is gonna put up a very good first half of the fight. It may even be up on the scorecards, and people are gonna be like, damn, Gallo may be pulling this off. Gallo may have like this late stage great performance that enhances his legacy even more. So you see these people out there, right? And I brought it up. I haven't co-signed that, but I brought it up that there are people trying to say that Gallo Estrada maybe has a greater legacy than Canelo Alvarez. I don't subscribe to that. I don't subscribe to it. But Ring, if he wins this fight,
it's an argument.
Guess what they're going to be saying?
Oh, I mean, come on. Look.
It's a debate. He has Chocolatito. Name one dude in Canelo's resume better than Chocolatito. Name me one.
Espérese un momento.
Name me one.
All I'm gonna say is Gallo. I like Gallo. I think he's one of the best fighters Mexico's produced in the last 20 years.
Yep.
So he's that good. But it's another thing to say he's up there with Canelo. It really is, though. Come on.
I agree.
I
agree. I'm just telling you what they're going to be saying, and D-Style may be parroting it, but ultimately, I think that Bam is going to get to Gallo's chin late in this fight.
If he beats Bam, he surpasses Canelo.
But he won't.
If he beats Bam, he surpasses Canelo, ladies and gentlemen.
Come on.
I'm just saying. Like
I knew he was going to do it. I set it up. I knew he was going to do it.
That's bullshit.
I don't even think he's going to do it. And if he does it, shit.
No, but D-Style, late in this fight, Bam's going to send Gallo off the pasture. He's sending him. It's going to be a nice little retirement party for it. And guess what?
Respect.
And guess what? D-Style, Chocolatito's going to come back. And he announced he's going to 118 to win another belt, and he's going to do that. And the Gallo fans are going to have to deal with that. That Chocolatito, look, he really won that trilogy.
Get knocked out by Nakatani, or what's he going to do at 118?
Chocolatito really won the trilogy. He really won the trilogy, and he's going to go up and win another belt.
No, not Junto. There's two other guys there. There's Takei. There's two guys that only have 9 professional fights. I forget
the guy that just beat
but he could go after the other. He could go after Takuma in a way too.
That's another one. And you know Taken. They love Choco, bro. They big on Choco out there in Japan.
He's gonna go out there. He's gonna go to Japan and win a belt. And I'm telling you, D-Style, Chocolatitos and Gallo's gonna be. Gallo's gonna be in retirement.
They're gonna make a poster that says Chocolatito versus Inoue, and then people are gonna be like, "Oh shit, he's fighting Inoue."
No, bro, it's like the Hulk Hogan shit. You know, you hear all the stories that Hulk Hogan's an asshole, but when you think about classic 80s and 90s wrestling, Hulk Hogan, bro, that's Chocolatito, bro. He's the Hulk. He's the Hulk
when he bought Slam Entree, you know what I mean? The whole Pontiac went crazy. Mighty Max, it feels like he's just showing up to give Ben the belt and saying goodbye to everybody. Like, how do you feel about the fight?
Yeah, it's a great fight. I'm really looking forward to it, and I am picking Bam to win the fight. But I think Estrada, people are really underestimating him. 5-1 odds, I think, is borderline disgusting when you look at what Estrada has accomplished and how good of a fighter he is.
Not to interrupt, but Sonny was just like I think Edwards was like a plus 165.
Really? Yeah, I knew Sonny was going to get dominated in that fight. I was super confident. I was really happy to see it as well. But when it comes to this matchup, I think most people are happy to see Sonny Edwards get beaten up bad in that bout. But I think when it comes to this matchup, I think Estrada's he's gonna come to fight like he always does. I don't think he's just gonna ride off the sunset. He's gonna give it his all. That's just the type of fighter he is. That's the type of fighter he's been raised to be. And I see him giving Bam a competitive fight, like Calix said early on, especially the first half. And I see him competing in the second half of the fight, but I just see him losing the rounds. You know, I see it being a bit of a slugfest, a bit of a back and forth, but I just feel Bam's gonna land a cleaner, crisper work and take over and probably win a 116, 112, 117, 111 type of decision. Estrada has a really good chin. He's really durable. I don't see him getting stopped here. And I see Bam becoming a new guy in the weight class. And when you guys mentioned Ioka, I'm not sure Ioka is actually going to beat Fernando Martinez, guys. I think that's going to be a very tough fight for Ioka.
I disagree, bro.
I think he could very well get outworked. We saw Franco nearly outwork him in the first fight.
Franco wasn't coming off of inactivity. One of the main problems that I see in the Martinez fight is, if you were fighting in the last 12 months, I would give you a better chance. But this dude ain't fought in like a year. And Ioka's a great counterpuncher. He's seen guys like this before. Kosei Tanaka was like this. Franco was like this. He's seen you before. You haven't seen him before. You haven't seen a guy like him. You
I understand that.
on Cajas.
I mean, we also saw recently, I don't remember if it was like 2 years ago, Ioka got a very dubious decision. I believe against Francisco Rodriguez was his name, who's a much more watered down version of Fernando Martinez. Throws a lot less punches, but is known for his activity. So I feel at this point there's a very good shot Ioka loses that fight. I think he can very well outclass him and take him to school as well. I think it's a very unpredictable fight. I think it's a very tough call, but I feel at this point, I don't see anyone really competing too well with Bam. I see them giving him a good fight. I see him having stiff competition, but I think when it comes to this weight class, I do feel he's by far the best fighter, the best talent we have currently, especially because the previous best guys are aging and nearly out of their primes at this point.
He makes me proud to be Mexican, bro.
Look, fellas, another one to look out for this weekend on that card is Curio. Maybe he can pull off the upset against Sonny Edwards. I'm just saying that's another one to look out for.
I like Sonny, bro.
And I'll say this.
I like big
the play that I'm playing, Bam Rodriguez stoppage plus 165. Bam Rodriguez will stop Gallo Estrada and send him into retirement late in this fight. I'm telling you, it's going to happen.
Callie, I'm glad you brought it up.
Like
Callie,
you sound like we're saying that.
I'm glad you brought it up. I like Sonny, man. I like his heart.
Me too.
But I think he's gonna get his ass whooped. Like you don't come back with Curiel, bro. You don't come back with a dude like that, bro. You just got knocked out, bro. You gonna fight another puncher?
Well, Curio did too, but he beat Nanshinka. He knocked Nanshinka out too. So that guy's a fighter. He's a fighter. But I'm telling you, Bam Rodriguez is what he does. He sends aging fighters at 115 off. That's what he does.
Yeah, but how many of them were named Francisco Estrada? Like how many of them were named that?
He's gonna give Gallo his pension check, bro. His SSI.
Yep. Shout out to Joe Beeb. How's it gonna be?
I've been waiting for you, Beeb.
Can't hear him.
Been waiting.
How's it going, man?
How's it going? How's it going?
Waiting for you, Beeb.
Estrada.
Gallo Estrada.
Yeah, go ahead.
I ain't say nothing.
Gallo Estrada is going to get sent to he's going to get sent to the Shadow Realm.
Oh, what are we doing here? What's with the
Sorry
disrespect?
I think Estrada's taking a good fight, but I see him losing as well.
Getting sent to the Shadow.
If he gets knocked out, do you rank him higher than Canelo?
I was trying to tell you.
If Bam knocks him out, D-Style, because you was on that Canelo shit when it came to Gallo. So if Bam knocks out Gallo, do you rank
No, because Bam doesn't have the career of Gallo. I mean, will it be ahead of Canelo at the age of 25? Yes.
I'm just fucking with you, D-Styles, because you said
you know what? I got a nice little number 6 spot warmed up for Bam Rodriguez if he beats Gallo Estrada this weekend on my pound for pound
He's
list.
top
number
3.
6.
He's top 4 easy.
Pound for pound?
Easy
Top 3.
I would have him at 6. I would have him at 6 because the 4.
Ain't none of those other dudes beat somebody like Gallo Estrada?
We got a trivia question. Who's better, Bam Rodriguez or Tank Davis?
Yeah.
You want my honest opinion? Bam.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bam. I got to take a phone call, guys. I'll be right back.
So, like, all I know is this: if there is this feeling, and maybe it's true, like maybe it's just the way it's going to play out, but it's just this feeling that, like, this guy is just—he's the man of the division or whatever, but he's just showing up to just hand the belt to Bam, hand the torch to Bam, and just say goodbye to everybody, and just right off to the sunset. And I just don't think it's going to be that easy. I don't think he's going to relinquish everything. And I think he knows. I'm sure he looks at the odds. I think he knows people are just thinking it's a foregone conclusion. And Gallo's going to come with something to prove in this fight.
I agree.
I want to know the Joe Habib lock of the weekend right here. Is it Bam stoppage plus 165? Is that the lock of the weekend? Is that the play?
Easily, man.
There it is.
I'm cashing in half my Bitcoin. I'm placing the bet.
I'm not touching my Bitcoin, but I'm putting some USD. Put my USD on Bam plus 165. I think this is what he does at 115. I think he's a monster there.
What's what Lance Meyer asking? Like, Lance Meyer's like, who let Beam on the panel? What do you mean? He doesn't want to. Like, what's going on?
I got a lifetime contract, man. The only way I get off the Sunday show or the Thursday show is someone's got to kill me in my sleep. It's the only way I'm getting off these shows.
Man,
In a lifetime.
I think I have Bam 8 right now, but he's gonna move up to 6 on my pound for pound list if he wins this fight.
So on the title, I have Joshua Dubois. It is official. By the way, I don't know if you guys saw the little face off and Dubois was like, "Who do you think you're talking to?" And they were supposedly going to get in a skirmish or whatever. But here it is, Dubois, AJ. I mean, it's official. It's going to happen at Wembley, right of season. I know there's a lot of people upset out there that there's no women fights in the card, but it is what it is. It is a Saudi Arabian card. What are you going to do, right? Joe Habib, what are your early just thoughts on this fight? And what do you think about Usyk being stripped and just all the drama behind it?
I've said this before. You've heard my position on this. When you're undisputed and someone takes one of the belts away from you, to me, I still think you're undisputed. I think people still think Usyk is the champion until someone beats him. I don't have a problem with the IBF being on the line for this Dubois versus Joshua fight. I think the fight, regardless, one way or the other, is a great fight with or without the belt. I agree with everyone involved in this event, including the promoters, who are saying that the style-wise, this is a can't miss. It just really is. And I do favor Joshua in this fight. I am a huge Dubois fan, so I'll probably be rooting for Dubois, but I do think Joshua will win the fight. I'm in the same position I was when Dubois was fighting Hrgovic, and I was wrong. I picked Hrgovic, but I was rooting for Dubois because I'm a big Dubois fan. But I just think AJ's quicker, and I just think, well, I don't know if you want me to break it down, but I will say that I'm just very excited for the fight, and I think it is going to end in a knockout, and it's just going to be a great card all around, and the event itself at Wembley with 95, 96, whatever, 100,000 fans at Wembley. It's just going to be an electric event. So there's nothing bad you can say about this event.
Did you like how Dubois was like on the face-off, like, who do you think you are?
I love this. Took a page right out of the Beebs book, Ben. But when I was in like middle school and I used to get in arguments with kids at the lunch table, I just get up. Who do you think you are?
Oh man. Hey, Mighty Max, what are your thoughts on Usyk relinquishing the belt, and so that rematch will no longer be for Undisputed with Fury, and this fight here with Dubois and AJ?
Well, one thing I will say for Dubois is he's talking a lot to AJ, but he just better hope he doesn't lose his other eye, because I don't give him much of a shot in this bout personally. I think stylistically, I think he's going to try to trade with AJ, and I think the way Dubois fights is just a very watered down version of Anthony Joshua. I think he's a very good fighter. He's very solid. But as you've seen, he was built up to be the next AJ in Britain when he was on the rise. And I feel as good of a fighter as he's become, I feel he's never been on the level of AJ. Now, I give him a lot of credit. He's built back his career tremendously since the Joe Joyce defeat. And even after the Usyk defeat as well. I give him tons of props for that. But I feel stylistically, I just don't see him being able to take out AJ. I understand AJ has issues with punchers. His chin isn't the best. I agree. I think his chin is a little underrated. I think it's better than what people say it is, but I don't think his chin is tremendous. But I just feel when it comes to the way that the fight plays out, I feel Dubois they're gonna try to pressure each other. They're gonna fight in the middle of the ring, and I feel AJ has looked absolutely tremendous as of late. I feel his punch output, his punch selection, his accuracy, his timing. I feel everything's better than Dubois. Dubois will make it a fight, but I have AJ some point in the middle to later rounds. And my big gripe with the fight is that it is for a title, because I find it ridiculous that we are in a sport where Alexander Usyk is getting stripped for rematching Tyson Fury, who is ranked higher than both AJ and Dubois, and a rematch that has to happen due to contracts, and the rematch that everyone wants to see. So I have a big problem with that aspect of the fight. However, I do love the matchup, and I'm genuinely looking forward to it.
And to your point, two guys that Usyk already beat.
Yeah, that as well. Yeah.
Like he's 3-0 against the guys who are going to fight for the belt.
Exactly. It makes no sense. Now, I understand if the winner of this fight obviously be the mandatory, and I understand if they try to enforce the winner of Usyk Fury, assuming it's Usyk again. If it's Fury, then they have to have the third fight. But I understand if they try to enforce one of those two men to fight the winner of this fight down the line, but not right now. That rematch has to happen before anything else. So the IBF getting involved, as they always do. They love the attention. They also stripped I don't remember who they stripped semi recently. Was it Crawford that they stripped?
Crawford.
They
They've been
stripped Crawford as
consistent.
well. They
They've been
stripped Triple
consistent.
G back in the day when he was trying to rematch Canelo. I mean, the IBF is always getting in the way of the big fights. So
yeah, like they really pressured Spence to fight him. I don't know, they didn't. Like
Kudratillo, Abdul Kakarov, they tried really hard to get him to fight as well.
Yeah. Hey, Calix, so I remember when you were very angry when the Klitschko's wouldn't fight each other, right? Because they're brothers. You know what I mean? They're siblings.
Mhm.
Well, now the two sons of Usyk are about to fight. So these two siblings are going to get it on. You know what I mean? So what are your thoughts on the fight? And we talked to Russ Samner, and surprisingly, he was in favor of the belt on the line.
Yeah, Russ feels like it's a process and it should move quick. And if it was that way across the board and it was consistent, then fine. But it's not. And I would think that after over 2 decades of us waiting for an undisputed heavyweight champion, that they would at least give these guys a couple more months. But they didn't. And it doesn't water down the rematch at all to me. But as far as this matchup, I love the matchup. Both guys trending in the right direction. I've felt for a while now that the two best heavyweights in the world are Alexander Usyk and Anthony Joshua. I think in 2021, 2022 is really when we settled who was the best heavyweight ultimately, because Anthony Joshua, if you look at his overall resume, he defended, or he came back after the Andy Ruiz loss and he righted that one. And then I felt he gave Usyk a hell of a fight in that second fight. It was a close fight. He fought better in that second fight, made good adjustments. And since then, he's had 4 straight wins. So Anthony Joshua, to me, is one of the good guys in the sport. He's a cash cow, and he's good for the sport. Daniel Dubois was a guy who I didn't like, but he's grown on me. One of the reasons why he's grown on me is he won me a good bit of money in that big baby fight where he knocked him out in the last second.
Oh my God.
So I was happy about that. And the Hrgovic fight, he performed better than I thought in the Hrgovic fight. So he's another guy trending in the right direction. I thought he fought better than I expected in the Usyk fight. So it's a good fight. I like the fight. So if it's a title, it's for a title. Good. I think Anthony Joshua ultimately stops Dubois late in the fight and he becomes a 3-time heavyweight champion. So good for him.
Okay. Ring. So IBF no longer belonging to Usyk, and these guys are going to fight for that strap. What are your thoughts?
Oh, well, I mean, I don't blame the IBF for it because the IBF didn't strip him. Aegis Klimas basically said that he didn't have to vacate it. They gave it up willingly. So that tells me that they probably were paid to do it. To make the fight in September bigger, he was given a financial incentive to relinquish the title. He was likely compensated for it because he didn't have to do it. He gave it up willingly. He was never stripped. The fight, Daniel's been looking really good with Don Charles in his corner. But this is the wrong fight for Daniel. If you want to know Don Charles's philosophy, just look at Derek Chisora. That is Don Charles's philosophy. Aggressive, come forward, throw punches, rough the guy up. And that was good in the Jarrell Miller fight. That was good in the Felipe Hrgovic fight. But this is not the fight for that. If you try to jump on Anthony, he's going to take you out. And that's how I have it. I do like the fight. I think it's a great fight and a great scalp. Just like Callie said, Daniel is trending up. This is another quality scalp, I think, for Anthony Joshua. He already has the most of a lot of the guys that are there. So this is another credible quality scalp and another champion that, paper champion or otherwise, Daniel is a champion. He was, he gave him the IBF. Here you go. So he is a champion. So it just makes his resume look that much better that, I have him knocking out Daniel, and it could be inside of 6 rounds.
Okay. Pugilist Zine with a super chat. I appreciate it. He says Dubois is dangerous. A very fun fight. I like the fight too. But I do think AJ's going to style on him. I think AJ takes him out. I don't think it's going to be a close fight. But if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But it is what it is. I got AJ in that fight for sure. I like the fight. And what are you going to do? And I do agree that now that I'm thinking about it, they probably did pay them, or I think I was talking to Beeb the other day. Like Turk Al-Sheikh probably talked to them and was like, "Hey."
I suspected that too. Well,
you could sell a trilogy at that point.
Yeah.
Aegis confirmed it. I think it was either yesterday or the day before yesterday that Aegis Klimas on Twitter, he was like, "We didn't have to give it up. We gave it up willingly. We weren't stripped."
They filled out the they filed an exception for the IBF originally, but I guess maybe they had second. Something tells me, like you said, Ring, maybe Turkey Al-Sheikh maybe talked to them or set them down because he was trying to really make that Joshua Dubois fight bigger, like you said, and it probably helped seal the deal as well. So I do think
what was $1 million to Turkey Al-Sheikh, bro? With extra $500,000, $1 million, you know, for Usyk is Usyk with 4 belts of 3, you know, he's Usyk, bro.
That's it.
And with that war chest, I could spend the money too. Shit, but I had the power to use it. You know, but and by the way, Turkey Al-Sheikh, like you could just tell, he's rooting for Fury and he's rooting for Joshua openly. I don't know if you guys saw the little face-off they did. So,
yeah.
So it is what it is, but I don't know. I know Calix already.
Don't get excited, Beeb. Don't you fucking get excited. Don't do that.
Calix said,
my cousin, man.
A trilogy that
Fury's my cousin. I always get excited, man.
Don't fucking get excited, Beeb.
We're family.
He's gonna fucking lose that shit. He's gonna
Fury's
lose that shit too.
Fury and myself are family, man.
Yeah.
Usyk, no. Usyk's gonna lose. I mean, Usyk's gonna beat Fury. I'm talking about Usyk. If Joshua gets his hands on that belt, it makes that fight bigger, right? And then it makes a possible 2025 trilogy between Usyk and Joshua bigger because then it could be for undisputed, right? But I think the fight that they still need to make down the road is Fury versus AJ. AJ versus Fury, I should say, is still big. I think there's an interesting comparison to make between the heavyweight and at lightweight between AJ and Loma, because Loma's seen as the top. I think he should be seen as the top lightweight, even though he's lost some big fights there, much like AJ at heavyweight, because AJ, you could argue, the past 8 or 9 years has the best heavyweight resume overall. And the same thing with Loma. The same thing with Loma is consistency over 10, 11 fights at lightweight is the consistency of fighting top competition and winning the fight. So
I told DStyle this today. I think win, lose, or draw, regardless, I think Usyk retires after the Fury fight.
Yeah, there's nothing to stick around for, bro.
After he loses the rematch, I think he's going to retire.
You better get the fuck out of here, B.
After the ref doesn't save Fury again.
Get the fuck out of here. You better get the
Hey, but like, what happened to him saying he'll go back down to cruiserweight? Like, all
he
that
shouldn't do
stuff?
that. He shouldn't go down.
That's not going to happen. He's going to retire.
No. I mean, if he did, right? What the fuck are we worried about? Zerto Ramirez? What the fuck are we worried
Jairo
about?
Patalia.
Jai could do something.
Callie, I fucking love you guys. You guys are great. But Jai has a gas tank issue, and it's becoming more noticeable.
Yeah, he does.
And who has a fantastic gas tank? Usyk.
Well, Usyk shouldn't go to cruiser. He's gonna be so drained, guys. Just let him stay.
I don't think he's gonna do that, Calix. I think he's gonna retire. He's gonna make movies with The Rock.
Jai finished a 12-round fight with a fucked up jaw. I think he could finish any fight.
He should go be an action hero, like beat Fury again. He's gonna knock Fury out the second fight. That's what's gonna happen.
We got the rematch, man. We're gonna post them. We're gonna keep at the end like this. We're gonna post them.
Beeb, I hate to tell you this.
I want you to be put the couch cushions on the floor for when Fury gets knocked out, just in case you fall down, so you have something to break the fall, bro. Okay, because Fury's gonna get knocked out.
Usyk will knock Fury out in that second fight, Beeb. I'm just warning you. I'm trying to help.
I don't think the ref's gonna save Fury this time, guys. I don't think the ref's gonna save Tyson Fury.
No.
So
Fury by KO.
We'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. One more topic. Ryan Garcia suspended. Haney losses removed. Devin Haney, I don't know if you guys have heard, is undefeated. He's never touched the canvas. He's never been defeated. All right. Devin Haney, right, has never tasted defeat. They never announced somebody else the winner. It never happened. Right. So I need everybody, like in the Men in Black, to look at the camera right now. Let's wipe everybody's memory. It is what it is. So, Mighty Max, what are your thoughts on Ryan Garcia's suspension? Do you think it was the right call by the commission? Devin Haney, having his old back and the whole nine.
Well, one thing I want to say right off the bat is I'm glad Devin Haney has been successful once again in overturning a career defeat. As we all know, it's very likely that he's also overturned a defeat earlier in his career that has disappeared from his record. Now, coming from someone that does like Devin Haney, and I also like Ryan Garcia, I didn't really have too much of a dog in the race. I'm going to be fully honest, and I get a lot of flack when I say this, especially from the bigger figures in the sport of boxing, but I personally believe that every fighter that's elite is on something, guys. And I'm not saying it's steroids, but you got to realize that so many fighters are able to get away with it in so many different factors and so many different methods that if you're not on something, you're at a natural disadvantage. So what I feel happened is I just feel that Ryan Garcia got caught. And this isn't coming from someone defending Garcia because I love Triple G. He's my favorite fighter, but I never bring up Canelo failed drug test because I have a very clear stance on this topic. I feel that a lot of fighters are on something and they just find a way to get away with it. So I'm not really that outraged that he got caught. But at the same time, since they did catch him, they can't pretend it didn't happen. You know what I mean? Like they even with my belief system, if they did catch him, they have to take action. They can't catch Ryan Garcia and say that every fighter's on something because then that would just ruin the entire system. It'd be pointless. So his suspension, I understand it. The defeat being removed from his record, I understand it as well. I'm not jumping up for joy for it because I do feel that a lot of fighters are on something, and who knows if Devin's on something, who knows what the other top fighters in the sport are on. But overall, I'm not surprised at all at the decision. I think it's pretty understandable.
Okay, all right. Calix, what are your thoughts on this whole saga here?
I thought they both got off all right on it, right? Like Devin Haney gets his O back, and then Ryan gets to train. He'll be back in the training camp in 8 months for a fight in 10 months. So Julio Cesar Martinez just got 9 months, and the guy fights on average, if you look at it, every 9 months the past 3-4 years. So it's like what are we doing here? So I don't have much to say on it. Max, what he just said echoes how I felt about it over a decade. It just doesn't do anything for me anyway because nothing's going to happen. But what I'll say is this whole thing between Ryan and Haney right now and just the ugliness of it and how unlikable both of these guys are and how unimpressive both of these guys are to me as fighters and people. The trend we were talking about earlier with young American fighters, and Bam is the only one that seems to be living up to expectations and he's flying under the radar. I think that's a growing trend in boxing that the American journalists and boxing fans seem to be ignoring, that all of these guys, they're living up to your expectations of them because the expectations from American journalists and boxing fans are at an all-time low for our fighters. They're not expecting anything of these fighters. If you demand any sort of greatness from them, you're demonized and called names. So they're living up to this low bar. And it's sad to see because I'm watching the NBA draft last night. You see foreign player. It's the same thing in basketball. It's our expectations of NBA players are so low that we're not producing the same athletes. And they're out there is the sad part. Look at Top Rank's young roster. They're out there. The problem is somewhere between prospect to contender to champion, something is broken. The system is broken. And it's starting to show up in the end result to where now Japan has more belts than us and Mexico is close to catching up with this. So the end result is there now. It's here. It's all there for us to see. And this is another microcosm of that is all these guys are unimpressive. They're unlikable. They're not marketable. And it's sad to see.
Yeah. Let me play this really quick I got this from Mill City. Shout out to them. I'm going to play this. This is Ryan Garcia contradicting himself within 1 minute. In 1 minute, this dude contradicted himself. This is why lawyers tell clients to shut the fuck up and don't say anything. Okay? This is why. But he can't help himself.
The guy that came to help me lose weight, his name was Scooter. He bought me supplements. And I took the supplements. And that was the day before the fight. And then it just so happened that I tested the day before and the day after. So that's exactly what happened. So a guy came in to help me lose weight, and I took the supplements he gave me, and for sure those are the ones that on you. Or Scooter is the one that gave me the supplements. I'm gonna always stand by the truth. Scooter gave me the supplements. I took the supplements, and then I tested positive. That's it. Point blank period. There's no bigger story. I don't know what happened. It got blown out of proportion. I got a question, champ. I got a question. What was it? Listen, what was the let me ask you one more question. I just told you I don't know, Bill. I know, but I'm saying is it was used to cut weight though. The supplement he told you, he said you want to use to cut weight? Nope. He just gave me supplements and what was the supplement for, Ryan? It wasn't for cutting weight. I don't know what he gave me. I'm being real with you. I don't even got to be on this live. I'm being real.
Yeah, you should be the live.
He gave him the Osterin to cut weight.
So I just before I go to ring, I mean, he goes from, and I'm just pointing this out on Twitter, and people are telling me to do my research, and I'm just quoting Ryan. It's what Ryan said, right? Ryan Garcia is saying, "Oh yeah, I hired Scooter." First of all, the problem you hired a dude called Scooter. That's problem number one. Okay, so Scooter, all right, you hired him to help you lose weight. So he gave you the supplements, I guess, the day before, right? To, I guess, try to make weight. It didn't work, whatever. Let's say we'll take it to work. But then later you say it wasn't for cutting weight. So why are you talking? What type of an explanation is this? And then Ryan Garcia fans are angry at me saying, no, he hired him for rehydration. The day before the weigh-in?
Exactly.
The day before the weigh-in, like you guys, you need to do your research. I'm just quoting him. My only point is, shut the fuck up, dude. Just shut up. Go chill. Don't like you're going on these streams and just talking, and you're contradicting yourself. That's all. I just wanted to put that out there. Ring, what are your thoughts on all this?
As far as I'm concerned, he cheated. He knew he was cheating. I've said what Mighty Max has said a gajillion times. I think that most top-level boxers are on something. I think that most people in organized sports are on something. I've been saying that. The only thing that's annoying with Ryan is that people want me to believe he's innocent. That's where the debate is. That's where the argument is. No, he's not innocent. No more than I think Julio Cesar Martinez or Erica Cruz or Zolanita. He's not innocent, dog. He cheated. Very simple. He got caught like a lot of people get caught. It's not the end of the world. But stop trying to beat me on my head. That Ryan would never, like, what the fuck? Like, are you a moron, bro? Yeah, he cheated. It's very obvious that he cheated. But, not a lot is going. I didn't think they was going to do a lot. As far as I'm concerned, they didn't do a whole lot. They did give him a longer suspension than what they usually give, because they usually just give you a backdated 6 months. In his instance, he got a backdated year. It did cost you a little bit of money, but was he even going to fight again this year? Probably not. To be real, who was he going to fight? Who was he going to fight again this year? Who? So, he's just going to, Ryan is going to Ryan all over everything, and he'll be back next year, and they'll do the fucking rematch. Because it's like Callie said, like, I'm not big on either of you, okay? I don't fucking care. Fuck you. I'd rather go fucking watch Junto than the both of you. Fuck you. I don't fucking like you. But just to the point that why do y'all keep trying to tell me he innocent when it's obvious that he's not? It's very obvious that he's not. So yeah, it is what it. I don't give a shit about them. Bam's fighting, bro. Fuck them. I give a shit about them, dudes, bro.
My thing is this. Speaking of contradictions, I don't have the audio, but Devin Haney is doing interviews talking about how he should be banned for life. A sentence later, I want to fight him next year. Like what? So what do you want? You want him banned for life? What do you want, bro? Right? And it's like, how do you think the Austrian helped him? It doesn't matter. It helped him. Like what? Okay, I guess. I mean, it's whatever to me. But Joe Beeb, talk to us. What are your thoughts on the suspension and Haney getting his win back and all the drama surrounding it?
I think it's a fair punishment. The only thing that kind of caught me a little bit off guard was having to forfeit your whole purse, because usually it's just a percentage. So they've always been inconsistent with these things. Like Julio Cesar Martinez had 3 banned substances in his system, and this is the second time he tested positive, and he only got 9 months. And I don't give a shit that Ryan got a year. I mean, the rules are what the rules are. You were gonna get punished, right? I thought it was only going to be 6 months, but again, a year is only one fight, so it's not like they threw the book at him. And you mentioned this, and I think Ring mentioned this. A lot of people mentioned this. The guy kept on talking, and the commission's listening to everything you're saying. You're making a mockery of the process. sort of like, I'm not going to say Conor Benn was making a mockery of the process, but he was taking a very like when you take a very combative position against who's ever investigating you, it's really not in your best interest. Now, I underestimated that a little bit in this instance, but I do think that played a factor in probably the punishment. But either way, a year is not a long time. If it's a post-date, a year ban is not a long time. It's one fight. The only thing that I just thought was a little bit weird was just having him have to forfeit his whole purse. I don't really give a fuck. And going in, I never really had high expectations for Ryan. I never was a huge Ryan fan, but I was a really big Devin Haney fan. But I just, the behavior from Devin Haney, like I didn't expect much from Ryan, so the expectations for Ryan were always low for me. But I just didn't expect this kind of like behavior from Devin after the fight. Like you got the decision overturned. The guy's got a suspension. Now you want to like go further with it. Both of them should shut the fuck up and just let the process has already been played out. The punishment's already been delivered. Move on. It's that simple, my opinion.
Also, the lawyer's outraged that they took all the money from Ryan, but from my understanding, it's going to go to Golden Boy. So, Oscar, you could give him the money right back.
Yeah,
like,
you
why
want
so?
You bastards! You bastards! You took.
just put it on his next purse.
Yeah, like what are we doing here? He's like I can't believe they did this to Ryan.
How could you do this to Ryan?
Shout
Giving me his money.
Lady Chan with a 199 pounds. Saludos a todos. Shout out to you. Shout out to Lady Chan. Hope to have her back on the roundtable soon. Look, all I know, man, is this. This may not be popular with a lot of people out there. It's just my honest opinion, okay? I agree with the suspension. There's debate about. I don't agree with taking the whole purse, quite frankly. But Austria could just give it back to him, quite frankly. But I just don't believe the reason Devin Haney got his ass whooped because of the Austrian. I don't. Like I don't think that's the reason why. I think it's my opinion. Paulie Malignaggi's coming out saying, "Oh, it's illegal for a reason. It's there because it helps you hit harder and it helps you react faster." I don't.
What would
think
Paulie know about power, though? What would Paulie Malignaggi know about being a power puncher?
I don't know, but my thing is, does Austrian really help you get more power and with your reflexes, and does it really help you land a left hook? I just don't believe that. I believe the advantage was 3 pounds over. I think he got a bigger advantage off of that, and Haney was like all glee and happy when Ryan didn't make weight. So it is what it is. But my other thing is, if I was going to have surgery for anything, and they tell me my surgeon is Scooter, I'm not going to do that surgery, bro. Okay? Like, Scooter's on his way. Like, well, who?
Who's Scooter? Is it Stephen Fulton?
I got
Never heard this guy before.
Hey, win the rematch, Devin.
He's the guy that Ryan hired. Think about how dumb this is. Even if you believe Ryan, they hired somebody last minute, and he gave him some supplements. He didn't know what the supplements were for, and he just took them. Why would you even admit that?
Bro, Devin, this is the main thing. Devin needs to just shut the fuck up, go on vacation, win the rematch, bro. That's how you, not arguing, not suing people, not harping about peds. Yes. Win the rematch. That's it. All this other shit is shut the fuck up. Shut up. Go away.
Hey, Joe Beeb, do you think the Austrian helped Ryan win this fight?
I don't, but the rules are the rules. That the rules are you couldn't have it in your system, and that's that. It didn't help Amir Khan. I have my position on a lot of these drugs, but it's irrelevant. Like he should be suspended because it's illegal. This is my issue. Like I have the same position you have. I think Devin Haney lost the fight because he lost the fight. But people conflate that. So now when you say that, you get gaslit. Well, why are you defending Ryan Garcia? I'm not defending Ryan Garcia. I didn't say you shouldn't. I didn't say he was innocent. Right? You broke the rule. You got to pay the price. I just don't think the Austrian made him win the fight. I'm in the same agreement with you. So that's what happens is like when you say that, then you got to listen to people like Paulie Malignaggi call you an idiot. And then if you ask Paulie Malignaggi, well, Paulie, how do you cycle Austrian? What are the benefits? How long do you have to use it for? What's the proper dosage? Well, I don't have to know that. I just know it's illegal for a reason. That's fine. But again, like we can have our own opinion on if something really helps someone or not. The perception that something can help somebody. I mean, there's a lot of substances on that banned list that really they just throw it on there. They haven't really done research on it. There's actually been research done on Austrian that states that it actually long-term use lowers testosterone. So again, I don't care that he got punished. I think he should have been punished because the rules are what the rules are. But if I don't believe that Ryan won the fight because he was on Austrian, that's my opinion. And there's a lot of people with knowledge of the substance that agree with me. So it is what it is. But Paulie's going to tell us we're all idiots.
Yeah. All right. Lady Chan says that it did help Khan not taste the canvas. I mean, I guess.
You know what this shit is, dog? Just Devin, just go win the fucking rematch, bro. That'll settle it. Go win the fucking and look, you guys don't want to fight Brian Norman. You don't want to fight Jaron Ennis. You don't want to fight, and you fucking know it, that when you come back, those kind of people are not gonna be on your radar. So hurry up, make your fucking rematch. If Devin wins, turn it into a trilogy, because you are each other's best option north of 140. Brian Norman will probably beat the shit out of both of y'all. Boots will beat the shit out of both of y'all. And leave Stanionis alone, because he cuts his whole hair, bro. He don't even have a hairstyle. He gotta just leave him alone, bro. Right? Fight each other two more times.
They want to leave Liam Parrow alone too, because he's got that fade, huh? He's got that Australian fade.
They fucking know, dog. They're like, y'all not going back to 40. That's one. You're each other's best option for a money fight. It has a great profile. There's a controversy. You can sell a lot of pay-per-views with it. So just hurry up. You guys might as well start working on that fight right now.
So, and can I just make one more point? And I think we also talked about this D-Style. After 6 rounds, I had Devin up 5-1. I mean, I had Ryan winning the fight because of the knockdowns. I had it even in rounds. You know, I don't think it was like this phenomenal performance from Ryan. Like Ryan was huffing and puffing, looking up at the clock, and I don't think that was a phenomenal performance from Ryan. But you know, the knockdowns made the difference. I don't think it's an unwinnable fight for Devin Haney in a rematch. I don't. Yeah. I mean, it was. I had it 6-6 in rounds.
He was supposed to win the first fight. You know, it's definitely not an unwinnable fight for him.
Yeah,
Ryan has had his Al Bundy moment. You know, like the poke high joint. Like this is what that's going to be for Ryan, because I don't see Ryan beating nobody after this. No, you're not beating nobody at 147. Nobody good. You're not beating nobody good at 154.
Mario Barrios.
I would pick Ryan to beat Barrios. I would.
Well, that's if Pacquiao don't
Manny Pacquiao? Manny Pacquiao?
I don't know,
I
dog.
mean, I'm just saying.
I don't know, dog.
One more quick round table, which is really quick. Let's start with Beeb. What are your thoughts on the purse bid and you know, Devin Haney not being happy that Matchroom didn't the only top ranked bid for the Martin fight?
Well, and this is another part of the gaslighting campaign against people like myself. Eddie said even before the Ryan Garcia fight that this fight with Sandor Martin was going to be a tough sell, and he didn't think the Zone was going to be interested in it. And he also said, listen, when you're a free agent, right, you put yourself out there. You don't have a guaranteed contract. You don't have guaranteed purses, right? Oh, what about when he got this for this guy and for Linares and Jojo Diaz, and why did they pay it? Because he was under contract. Eddie Hearn said, why are we going to make a commitment to you when you're not making a commitment to us? We're willing to lose money on fights if we have a commitment from you. When you're a free agent, you roll the dice, and regardless of the outcome of this fight with Ryan Garcia, this was always going to be a tough sell, and not many broadcasters wanted it. I'm surprised Top Rank bid on the fight. I'm surprised they did. So it is what it is. And what was his guarantee for Ryan? Didn't he get 1.5 million guarantee for Ryan?
Yeah.
So you mean to tell me that you're going to put this fight on pay-per-view? So again, I'm being gaslit. Oh, well, he would have got more if he didn't get beat up by Ryan. That's another thing that I'm not going to buy.
Imagine if Top Rank didn't bid and nobody bid.
I mean, that's another thing that I'm not going to accept. That's just, I mean, I'm not going to believe that. You can gaslight me all you want. I'm just not going to believe that. Sorry.
Ring, your thoughts on the first bit?
I mean, everybody knew that fight was a fucking stinker, bro. Like, if you were getting $3 million per fight, it's what Beeb said. You were under contract. That was a contract minimum. That wasn't your marquee value. That's not what you generate. You know that you played the game. You know, and you were smart. That hey, if the zone is throwing money at people, let me get some. That's what it was. But you're not a big draw yet, and you know you don't have the style to be a big draw. So it's just. You got a reality check, basically, that no, people not just going to throw a bunch of money at you for just because you're Devin Haney. Sorry. And I'm glad the fucking fight isn't happening because Haney versus Martin.
Oh.
Nah, dog. Don't make that shit. That's my thoughts. Woo! Thank God. That's my thoughts.
Calix, what are your quick thoughts on it?
I said my thoughts on it. They dictated that he's worth 1.5 for that fight, but I think the only reason he's worth that for that fight is because Top Rank wanted to give Sandor a belt off of Devin Haney. I think that's the only reason that they even bid. So it's an unmarketable fight, terrible fight. And as far as Devin Haney goes, these short-term deals are great for the fighter if things are going well. They're great for boxing fans because we get to see true market value and we don't have to pay. We don't have to have that artificially priced minimum per fight for a lot of these fighters over a long-term deal. But if the fighter doesn't do well, like Devin Haney against Ryan Garcia, it backfires on him, and he's seeing that now. So we'll see where he goes.
Mighty Max, only Top Rank bid for the Sandor Martin Haney fight. What are your thoughts?
Doesn't surprise me because no one wants to see that fight. I mean, that's the typical Top Rank Thursday night fight, right, guys? If you look at the Teofimo versus Ortiz fight, look at Shakur versus De Los Santos. Can't see the fight being too much different than those two, right? Devin just outworks him in a very boring, ugly fight. And it really doesn't surprise me at all. And I agree. I don't think that fight was worth too much. And as IQ said, I agree. And I'm glad the fight's not happening. I mean, Martin's a good fighter. I understand him getting a title shot, but stylistically, that would not be enjoyable at all. And it would be a very, very boring fight. And Devin Haney's stock will only go down. You know, he wants to make more money and become a bigger name. But unless he really attempts to put on a show against Martin, I think the only way that goes is another underwhelming outing for Devin Haney.
Yep. Well, in the words of Devin Haney, I think I'm worth a lot of money, and I think I should get paid more. I think everyone knows that I'm a good fighter, but people also know that I'm a good businessman, and people know that I'm very business savvy, and that's why I try to talk like Floyd, because for whatever reason, when I talk like Floyd, and I tell my opponents that they are a C-level fighter, they're C plus, and I'm an A-level fighter, because he's a C-level fighter, I'm an A-level fighter. And I'm not copying like the way Floyd was talking to Gotti, his line. I wasn't stealing it at all. I'm not trying to talk like Floyd at all. Why is Devin Haney trying to sound like Floyd, bro? Like, I just don't understand why he's trying to talk like Floyd.
Dick eating, bro. Like, that's why I'm glad that this era is coming to an end, because Bruce Carrington ain't trying to be Floyd. Abdullah Mason ain't trying to be Floyd. You know what I'm saying? Tiger Johnson, Jahi Tucker, they not trying to be Floyd. So I love it. Like, thank God, bro. Just can the Mayweather era just go away? The era of guys who's 25 fighting like they're 36.
He's a good fighter, but I'm like the
hell of a fighter. Couldn't overlook him. Like, man, if you don't get that dude, pick out your mouth.
Hey, shut up. I appreciate you having me on. I have to hop off now, man. Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Sounds good. Well, we're definitely wrapping up already. Have a good one, Matty Max. Remy, ¿qué onda? Thoughts on Devin Haney Promotions? I got for sure. No thoughts on Devin Haney Promotions at all. With that said, guys, we're wrapping this one up. I want to thank Ring IQ for joining us, Mighty Max as well, Calix, and as well as Joe Habib. We'll see you next week on Ringside Report. It's DStyleBoxing. Keep it boxing. We're out. Peace.
Fury's Revenge!